Hey guys, come on downstairs. It is Madden season, and we're going to go ahead and do our Madden 19 franchise reveal here. I know it's a little bit late into the beginning of this. Wanted to wait and watch the dust settle, see who some of the other content providers chose to do their franchises with. And now that the dust has settled, I have finally settled on a team that we are going to try to guide to the Lombardi Trophy. It is a team that has never won a Super Bowl before, so that eliminates some of those teams up there. And we are going to do our franchise with the Buffalo Bills. Now, the Bills franchise is a mess. Absolute mess, and has been since the mid-90s. Now, yeah, a couple of playoff appearances in that time frame, including last season. But what happens after last season? They go and lose their starting quarterback, Tyrod Taylor. I don't know if they traded him or let him walk. I don't know what the situation was. I don't recall it. I just know that they don't have him back, and their quarterback situation is rather bleak at the moment. So we have brought in Gabriel Grizzly Bear to be the head coach of the Buffalo Bills, a vertical power run offensive scheme, and we do a multiple 3-4 defensive scheme. Now, I like the vertical power run because I like to establish the ground game, similar to what I do in my Southern Utah dynasty. It's kind of a similar idea, where we establish the run and then take several deep shots via play action downfield to try to keep the defense honest. The multiple 3-4 defense I like. It requires a very good defensive line, and I think we do have that here in Buffalo, a very good defensive line right at the moment. And so I think we can get away with 3 down linemen and get ourselves 4 linebackers on the field to try to fill those gaps and stop the running game. And I do like our secondary. I will go over all of our personnel shortly after we choose our schemes and our playbooks here. So the vertical power run, we're going to go with Arizona's playbook, and I think we will go with Denver's defensive playbook with the multiple 3-4. And that will allow us to bring some pressure off the edge with some linebackers, not just with defensive backs. Let's look at the quarterback situation now. I alluded to it before. It is a little bit bleak. Josh Allen is our draft pick from Wyoming. A lot of people have mixed feelings about Josh Allen. He definitely has some potential, but well documented are some of his issues, forcing footballs, lack of accuracy, and doesn't always make the smartest play on the football field, trying to do a little bit too much. But the arm is unquestionably very good, a 99 throw power. The only question is, can he be Brett Favre, or will he be somebody like Jeff George, who just had a mediocre career, or Ryan Leaf, who had a horrible career? So the jury's out on Josh Allen. A.J. McCarron at the moment is listed as our starting quarterback, and it will kind of be a battle between Josh Allen and A.J. McCarron to see who will get the starting nod. Probably go with A.J. McCarron at first, and if that does not work out well, he might have a short leash before we turn the keys over to Josh Allen. In the backfield, LaShawn McCoy, obviously some off-season issues. They may pan out to have been true. They may not. I don't know. But he is our starting running back, and he is getting up there in years. He has 9 years of experience. That is quite a few for a running back. So, I mean, he's got 2 years remaining on his contract. After that, I do not foresee him being our running back. So we need quickly to locate and find a replacement for LaShawn McCoy after the 2019 season. Chris Ivory will spell LaShawn McCoy. He is definitely not the long-term replacement, not at an elite level anyway. Kelvin Benjamin is our best receiver. He is a 84 overall in the red zone and 80 as a deep threat. And so we don't really have the kind of receivers that we want for this vertical power run scheme. We want some better deep threats, than Jeremy Curley and Kelvin Benjamin. So we're going to have to work on finding receivers that fit our system a little bit better. Until then, we'll have to make do with some of these guys. Zay Jones, he is a 72 in deep threat, which is also not the greatest. And he is our third receiver. Him or Corey Coleman. Could be either of those two guys. So the receivers, they're passable for now. The running backs, LaShawn McCoy is very good. Chris Ivory's a solid backup. Tight end Charles Clay. I'm gonna try to not call him Cassius Clay this entire series, because for some reason when I see C. Clay up there, I think Cassius Clay, and Charles Clay is definitely not the greatest of all time, Muhammad Ali. So he is in his 8th year out of Tulsa, and he's a pretty good tight end, I would say. And I think we're going to go ahead and name Charles Clay as a team captain here. And I think we're going to go back and name LaShawn McCoy as a team captain. We'll go with LaShawn McCoy is innocent until proven guilty and make him a team captain. The offensive line, offensively, this is where the trouble lies with the Buffalo Bills offense. The offense is not good overall, and the offensive line is one of the biggest culprits. Deion Dawkins, a 77 overall. I think that is actually our highest rated offensive lineman. And he's a young guy. Strength of 90, run block of 83, pass block of 78. That's not great, protecting A.J. McCarron or Josh Allen's blind side. The left guard, Vladimir Dukas, a 74 overall, another young player. He is the number 23 ranked left guard in the league. Again, that's not great. The offensive line, to have a power running game, to be able to establish it, we've got to have a better offensive line than we have here with the Bills. Russell Bodine is the starting center. He's a 72 overall. And again, some of these guys are really young and may improve greatly. So we'll just want to keep an eye on like this guy, 3rd year from Louisville. John Miller. He is the number 23 ranked right guard. He's a 73 overall as well. And he's in his 6th year out of Louisiana Tech. So I think Deion Dawkins, the left tackle, he earns XP at a above average rate, if I remember right. So that's somebody that could end up being a franchise cornerstone left tackle, but we're just going to have to wait and see how he develops, give him a couple of years. But there's definitely going to be some holes on the offensive line that we're going to have to plug before I feel like we can become a Super Bowl contender. So some of the backups and stuff are all in the 60s. Not good. Let's move on to the defense. Kyle Williams. In his 13th year out of LSU, this guy is a 82 overall run stopper, which is what we need right in the middle. He's going to be playing the nose tackle position. And we definitely need his strength right in the middle at 90, block shedding 80. So, the nose tackle in this 3-4 basically just got to occupy a couple of offensive linemen if he can do it. He is 303 pounds. So on the defensive line, what I want to do with this 3-4 is have, 5 or 6 defensive tackles and defensive ends that can rotate in and out and stay fresh, and that way hold their own against 5 offensive linemen and a tight end. Kyle Williams, only 1 year remaining, so this could be his final year. It's very possible that he could retire after this season. On the end is Jerry Hughes out of TCU. He was a beast in college. I remember him, but I have not heard much of him in the NFL. But he is going to be a starter at the defensive end position. Trent Murphy in his 5th year out of Stanford. 81 power rusher. And he's in his 5th year. He earns XP at an above average rate, so he is somebody who could get quite a bit better in the next few years. So we have some building blocks in place on the defensive line, but I don't want to say that we have to rebuild the defensive line, but I do want to say that we are always looking to accrue a good stable of defensive linemen because we want to be able to interchange these guys a lot defensively. I think I'll go in and set their substitution rate at like 85%. When they get down to 85% stamina, they come out, and then they come back in when they reach 75%. I'm just going to have like a really tight window so that there's lots of substituting going on the defensive line and people staying fresh. All right, the defensive backfield. This is a good defensive backfield. Tre'Davious White, in his 2nd year out of LSU, this guy is going to be special. He earns XP at a high rate. He is 88 man-to-man, which is what we want in this defense. We want some lockdown corners, put them on islands, use the safeties and linebackers to get pressure on the quarterback, and we're going to take our chances. I mean, we're going to be an aggressive defense, and we're going to take our chances at blitzing, and if we get beat deep, we get beat deep, but we're going to rely a lot on the corners. Free safety, Jordan Poyer. 89 overall. He's a young player too that earns XP at an above average, actually a high rate. Jordan Poyer, I actually live about 10 miles from his hometown of Astoria, Oregon. And a lot of people talk about Jordan Poyer around here. He still comes back and does a camp for all of the kids in the area. He's got 3 years left on his contract. So, we'll have him through the 2020 season. Micah Hyde in his 6th year out of Iowa. He is very good as well. Defensive backfield, definitely the strength of our team, and hopefully it will reflect that on the football field. He's got 4 years remaining on his contract, so he is penciled in as our safety for the foreseeable future. Lorenzo Alexander, a linebacker. This is where the defense is a bit sketchy. The linebackers, Lorenzo Alexander, Tanner Vallejo, a 66 overall in his 2nd year from Boise State, and he's just an average linebacker, probably always will be. Tremaine Edmonds, a rookie. Now this guy, he could possibly turn into a special player, but right now he's a 75 overall, and part of this linebacking core that is really below average. Matt Milano, 2nd year out of Boston College. He is the other linebacker. So we're really going to try to improve the linebacking core and amass a lot of defensive linemen. Those are going to be some of the most important tasks that we will have ahead of us here on our Buffalo Bills franchise. We look at our schedule for year number 1. We open up on the road against the Baltimore Ravens, come back home to take on the Chargers, at the Vikings, at the Packers, back home against the Titans before we play the Texans and the Colts. So we have 7 games before we play a single AFC East opponent. And then we have the Patriots, the Bears, the Jets to round out the first 10 games. And our bye comes in the 11th week. Then we've got the Jags, the Dolphins, the Jets, the Lions, and then the Patriots and the Dolphins. So the back end of the schedule is AFC East heavy. And we'll like it that way. We should be hitting our stride, and maybe we can sneak into the playoffs in this first year. We'll see. We're in a pretty weak division outside of the Patriots. So up next, we'll have franchise episode number 2, and it'll be game 1 on the road against the Baltimore Ravens here. It's Buffalo Bills franchise on Mama's Basement Sports Gaming. Welcome to Madden season.